As you stir from sleep, your mind foggy and memory not quite intact, you all find it difficult to move. Not just because of the grogginess you suffer from, but quite a weight has also been pressed on your bodies. You realise with a horror that you're buried underneath corpses. I'd like you all to start with an intelligence check and also a fear check, but all do the intelligence check first.
This is definitely not the travel arrangements we were promised.
Or was it?
Super economy class. Nice. What do we roll for fear?
Good question. I do know the answer to this because I looked it up earlier today. You roll... I believe it's a will save.
Okay.
I am... Fabio is immune to fear and intimidation interaction attacks. He is fearless.
That is an interaction attack. It's not necessarily a fear. But
I see.
For this scenario, I will actually allow that to be fine. That's fine.
Yeah, he's fearless. It's a talent.
I will consider this to be a normal scenario for Fabio. Wake up randomly surrounded by corpses. Sounds about right.
Surrounded by corpses, heavy weight on his chest.
Rob's got 2 and Amonel has got 4.
That's a 4 on my intelligence, and then 5 on my will.
Okay,
nice.
Cool. With a exalted icon.
Super,
perfect.
Yeah.
If you'd like to roll a intelligence check, though, Fabio, that would be brilliant.
So intelligence looks like an intellect. So let's double check. Yeah. Okay. So it's a bit of a surprise, but it's only 3.
Okay, thematically this makes sense because I would only really expect Amonel to remember this. So Amonel, you have hazy recollections of toasting with fine amasec, which is a translucent brown and red liqueur, not too dissimilar to brandy. You're in a luxury suite on Enoch with a cheerful and hospitable elderly woman. You remember her enthusiastic or possibly zealous eyes and her many augmetics, including the tank-like bottom half of her body. The toast was to celebrate an agreement between the party and this woman, though your memory is hazy as to what that was. Let me just... I've done this for Twitch, so I can actually switch on who you're talking to in front of you, in front of your very eyes. So if you'd like to just have a quick look in Twitch, you can see that's Inquisitor Mendes. That's who you remember. But you don't remember why you remember her. All you remember doing is having a drink, having a toast drinking amasec.
I'm pretty sure I remember her for her, alluring good looks.
Yeah, she's a looker, she is. I'll leave her up on the screen for a bit.
That's cool.
Okay, the floor banks slightly to one side, and that, accompanied by the sounds of thrusters, makes you realise that you are aboard a ship. The cargo door opens, and you and your newfound corpse companions are unceremoniously dumped out onto the landing pad below. The ship flies back off into the sky before you can do anything about it. As you all pull yourselves to your feet, you notice each other. You are dressed in simple hempen robes. Amonel, you realise you have had your head wrapped in a headscarf, clearly intentionally to hide your identity further.
Fair enough. I assume that I've sort of realised that everyone else is in different clothing and would sort of panic, and my hands would go up, sort of, and then sort of relax as I realised that, my ears aren't on show. Very self-conscious about my ears. I'm not sure if you quite remember how we ended up in this predicament, but we all seem to be taking it quite well, being underneath bodies. Do you
No,
remember
this is
the
all fucked
Inquisitor?
up. I have no idea where we are. What's happening here?
I'm surprised by that. I would have thought that Ikavon, you would remember quite such a mechanized individual as Mendax the Inquisitor.
Processing. Processing.
This is not how I was expecting to start my day.
Nah, it's I'm not quite sure. My system's frying of that individual at the moment.
Well, it all happened as it often does over a drink. It appears we were roofied.
A space refeed.
As you can see, we are without our accoutrements and otherwise important gear.
Do I still have all my mech parts, like my cord claw and my third arm and shit?
You do. You actually do. Yeah, you've got all your augments are intact. But that's
All right.
for all intents
This is
and
where
purposes,
Ikavon
you are.
Ikavon
Butt
just starts
naked.
screaming as he's had all his stuff nicked.
Okay, yeah.
You
I
are
quickly double check both my kidneys.
for all intents and purposes, you are butt naked, apart from a robe, with your augments still intact.
Ikavon checks his 4 kidneys.
Yep. Oh, good. Sell those later. Okay. All right. Well, also, what the fuck's up with these corpses as well?
Not much yet. It appears they're dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Skipping that. I just kick him into one side and try to. What's the landscape like that we just dropped down onto?
I'm glad you asked because I was just about to read it out. So, you're on a landing
Just reading
pad in a stone courtyard of sorts. Cobblestone stretches on for quite some distance, and beyond the skyline is pocketed with gravestones, mausoleums, statues, and grand buildings that tower way into the sky. You can see a priory about 600 feet away that is annexed to a much, much larger building. This looks like a grand cathedral. There are piles of corpses here in various states of decay. In the distance, you can see workers and servitors carrying bodies and body parts into the cathedral beyond. The ground is littered with bone dust, bone fragments, and pieces of teeth and skulls. The soil is a dark ash grey. I'd like you all to make a scholar test.
I assume we're, other than not being in Kansas, we're not on any form of transport of any kind. We're on a planet.
Yeah, there's soil around. You've been dumped onto this planet or whatever it is. Yeah. So if you'd like to all make me a scholar test, that'd be brilliant.
Oh, no, 3.
Is this related to the we're Nova thing?
No.
Okay. I assume not, but worth a try.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can see, because Amonel wouldn't know this, but Rob, you know this, the heraldry on the priory close to you is that of the Priory of the Sacred Form, which means that you have realised that you're on the moon of Daedalus.
Ooh, that rings a bell.
We're on the moon of Daedalus. If my memory bank serves me well, I'm assuming the affiliation is Necron.
So what you know about this planet is I'll tell you what you know.
Okay, yeah.
What you know about this planet is that, and hearing that, Fabio, you would also know about Daedalus as well. This is basically a graveyard planet. So anyone who happens to have done well in battle and fallen or is martyred, not necessarily martyred, but those that are in sort of mid-tier fighters and warriors would have been buried here, or anyone with wealth would have been buried here. But those that are truly exalted and truly martyred would have been entombed on Enoch itself. So this is a moon of Gilead Prime. So you've got closer to to a decent planet with which you can find some transport. But I guess this wasn't necessarily the kind of jump off you were expecting to have. So this place is essentially a graveyard moon called Daedalus, and that's basically what you know so far. Let's see, what did I put in my notes? Because I've kind of skipped.
So is there a whole industry relating to death here, or is it all servitor mechanized based?
So there absolutely is. There's an industry and a community built around this, an entire culture, in fact. So not only do bodies get interred here, they get most of the bodies that are deemed not worthy of being buried also get processed into corpse starch, which helps feed the rest of the Imperium. Corpse starch is, although it sounds disgusting, like Soylent Green kind of thing, which it is, it's actually commonplace everywhere. It's used as a protein just to fill things. You can use it to make stews and patties of similar to tofu, or you could add it, or the richer people would add, the slightly richer would add it to something that they find, like the local flora or fauna. But it's generally speaking, it's like the base level food, like gruel, that you would just feed your slaves or workers just so that they had something in their system. I love
how you compare protein-based people food to tofu. That's what vegans go to straight away every time.
I meant more in terms of what you could use it for, because it's sort of it's starch, and you can add water to it, and it basically produces instant gruel. Or you could turn it into patties. I know in Necromunda, in the Underhive in particular, they like to make it into slightly thicker patties and grill it. But that's essentially what they do with corpses here. They also remove any augments or anything like that, or anything that's valuable is generally removed, or if you're not going to be buried with it, it gets removed and repurposed. The rich and more privileged that live here would probably have stuff that they would be buried with, but 99 times out of 100 it's stripped of them because they don't need it anymore, and it's given back to the Imperium. So you're here stuck on this disgusting, horrible place of a moon, surrounded by corpses, basically. Okay, Fabio, Ikavon, and Amonel. All three of you notice something different on your persons. Ikavon, your cord claw arm feels slightly heavier than usual. As you turn your wrist, a compartment instinctively opens. It contains what you know as a stalker flare. As you turn your arm back over, it closes again around it. This compartment has been affixed to your cord claw arm from the elbow to the wrist on the inside. It can also be used in the future to store other things such as scrolls or something of that size. People fiddling around with you when you're unconscious once again. I'm seeing a running theme there.
I go to sleep, I wake up with a new limb.
Every night you're
basically how it works.
Every night you pray to the machine gods, please let it happen tonight. Fabio, there's something book-shaped in the lining of your robes. As you remove it, you realise it is a data slate. So if you would like to turn to Roll20, you will have in here somewhere a handout which I can show to you guys. There you go. That should pop up in your handout section. Yep. Let me know if that has. Fabio, this is obviously for you. So I don't know if you want to do the right thing and read it out to the class, but that would be great if you could.
I will, of course, read it out to the class.
I did a transcript underneath to make it easier for you.
This data slate in my pocket. I think we all need to hear this. Esteemed subjects of the Emperor, this message will be wiped from its data slate in 10 Terran standard minutes, and I will not waste time thanking you for undertaking this crucial service for the Emperor and his Holy Inquisition. The need for secrecy in this operation cannot be understated. Under my authority as an interrogator of the Holy Orders of the Inquisition, I issue this directive. Find the Xenos artifact known as the I'm sorry, I can't read it. I can't read it very easily. It's very small handwriting.
That's right. There is a data slate underneath if you want to read that, mate. A transcript.
Oh, fantastic. The Revelator from the Gelfradus family, Necropolis. Find the Xenos artifact known as the Revelator from the family and bring it to me. Little is known of the Revelator beyond its appearance, its vast rumoured power, and redacted. Its form is an unusual metallic bottle inlaid with undeciphered runes. Its use is a mystery that I plan to solve. We believe the Revelator is in the tomb complex of the once venerable Gelfradus family. Their coat of arms consisted of a shield emblazoned with the imperial aquila, flanked by 2 lions rampant. Their credo was, "His truth surrounds us." The Gelfradus mausoleum is reportedly near the city of Barasitir, on the cemetery moon of Daedalus. Well, that's where we are. We have delivered you to this city, but have no further data. The Revelator must be found quickly to keep it from the clutches of the enemy. Records at the Librarium Mortem of Barastir might aid you in finding the necropolis. We have limited intel on a local recreant named Diomedes, who may also be able to guide you. Now, I recommend avoiding the low-born bone slingers of this inert rock. Secrecy is paramount to the operation. Your loose or non-existent ties to the holy orders of the Inquisition were among the many reasons you were chosen to carry out this most imperative of missions. Light the stalker flare attached to this data slate in an inconspicuous area when you've acquired the Revelator, so that my ship may call you. You may remember little of our agreement. Our Medicae expert administered a relaxant to each of you that allowed you to pass for cadavers, a necessity to transport you to this cemetery moon covert. The only side effect of the treatment is a slight memory loss, but we all must make sacrifices in his name. Your equipment has been concealed in a false cadaver with the Electu of the Aquila. I recommend you start searching and find it before the corpse tenders arrive. Rest assured that the Inquisition will recompense you adequately for the successful completion of the mission as we arranged. May the Emperor watch over you, Interrogator, Prodita, Mendax.
Thank you very much. What a mouthful. I'm so glad you read that and I didn't.
It was, I like that. I sorry, I tried to read it off the data slate to begin with, and I didn't realise what you were saying. But this redacted part, it's rumoured power, and it's something. So we have here then the mausoleum is near the city of Barasir.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the city, but we're not in the mausoleum yet. That's got to be nearby. The librarium will help us with our quest here. So the librarian might be a early stop point for us then, if we can find that. And this Diomedes, I wonder where we'll see him. Maybe at the library, maybe at the mausoleum.
Yes, the more pressing matter is I think we should probably find our gear before we travel on too far.
Yeah, I do want my pistols back. So let's look for this Electu corpse.
Absolutely. Before you do that,
Oh.
Amonel, will you check what you have on you? A small scroll lies in the hem of one of your sleeves of your robes. It reads, Xenos, I'm fully aware of your identity. I will give you a full pardon and cooperation in my order should you complete the task set before you and your companions prove yourself an ally. Failure to complete this task will result in full hostility. And then it's signed, Inquisitor Mendax, Order of the Ordos Hereticus, formerly Ordos Xenos. I don't know whether you want to read this out loud to your friends or keep it to yourself.
I sort of hold it. I look at it. This says, just as a further warning, to keep watch for enemies hidden. And then I very quickly squirrel it away.
Okay. So in order to find the body containing your equipment, can you make me either an awareness test or an investigation test, please?
Awareness. So, yeah. 3.
And I'm just going to hide this data slate for now. 2. Okay.
Fabio is slow to wake up from this drugged slumber that he's had.
He's absolutely been knocked out, hasn't he?
Yeah, whatever this is, it's hit him like elephant tranquilizer.
Oh, was that your roll as well, Rob? Sorry, I totally missed that. A 4. Okay, cool.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't roll on this one yet.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, I'll make an awareness. Just double checking my stats. Yep.
Okay,
Got 4 anyway.
I've got a 4 anyway, so...
A 4 because I just shot myself in the foot with my own gun.
So, do you know what? This is theatre of the mind. So at the moment, it doesn't really matter how long you take to do this, but you find the Ogren body bearing the mark as described on the data slate. His bloated, weeks-old corpse practically falls apart as you reach in, finding a rubberized sack containing your weapons, conveniently wrapped in hempen cloth. As in, your weapons are conveniently wrapped in hempen cloth. You have also been given a string pull backpack containing your original equipment and clothing. So you've each got a backpack with all your clothing and stuff, and your equipment.
It's good. Should we find somewhere a little less in the limelight to sort of switch out of this unsightly gear we're currently in?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Can we see any buildings around? Is there any? Is there we're near the city, but what? How close are we to some building or place?
You're about 600 metres from the nearest priory, but as you're looking over towards this building, you can hear the chanting of High Gothic and the shuffling of feet as 4 robed figures shuffle in procession towards the landing pad that you guys are situated on.
Alright, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna... Just where I am, just start trudging into my primitive armour. We started gearing up all my guns and stuff.
Right there.
Yeah, well, yeah. Do I think it's going to take longer, or am I within sight of shit? Or...
They're making their way. They actually look like they've spotted you, so they're sort of coming towards you. But they're doing it in a very somber procession, and they are swinging incense as well as they go. And you can hear them chanting in High Gothic. If any of you speak High Gothic,
well, they know High
be able to
Gothic.
catch what
That's
they're
never
saying.
good. No one knows High Gothic. It's never a good sign when someone knows High Gothic. Yeah, I'm going to look for somewhere slightly obscured from everyone.
Sure.
Is there anywhere I can sort of, even if it's behind bodies, I'm not too bothered about
you can make
what I get changed there.
There are piles of bodies around you, so you can make a dart behind one of those if you want. They have already spotted you, so to do it is probably... But yeah,
it's more hiding myself from Fabio and...
What's the closest, large tomb, maybe like family tomb, or sort of like building structure that I might dart towards away from them?
Sure. It would just be a piles of bodies, so you can dart behind the nearest pile of bodies if you want to.
I guess.
Like, they are big piles. We're talking like huge piles of bodies.
Like, giant mounds.
Yeah.
it's like a corpse on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do the same. We'll dart behind one of these corpse piles and get into our gear. There's no wandering around as a like Rudy Nudie, covered in gore and whatever cadaver.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you all 3 of you dart behind different piles, I guess.
Right. I silently see that Fabio and everybody is behind separate piles. I'm like, give them the arms. I'm just like, come over here.
Yeah. Do you guys go over to him?
Yeah. What's the got?
Okay, cool. So you two, Amonel, are you staying behind your own pile of bodies, or are you going to join the communal pile of bodies?
No, I'll be on my own pile of bodies.
Okay, like you said, because you wanted to obviously hide your Xenos nature from everyone.
My heritage.
Your whatever it is.
My ideas.
Eldari heritage. Okay, cool. The procession approaches where you were, and they stand around for a while, and it's clear that they know that you're there. They don't know, they didn't quite catch where you darted to. And one calls out to you. Hello there. Please come out and state your business. We know you're here.
Well, hi there. And what business would make ours yours? We have every right to be in this place. Why are you so interested?
Well, we're the corpse tenders. We tend to these corpses, obviously, and you don't seem to be dead. However, you did seem to be in this area and somehow get past us.
Yes, well, we found ourselves lost, and we've ended up here. What were your names?
I don't think you understand what kind of severity you're in right now. And he sort of, one of them nods to the other one to get ready to call for help. And you can see in the background that there are quite a lot of there are quite a lot of servitors in this area. Not very close to you, but they are working. Are you grave robbers? Are you here to rob the dead?
Oh, no, that is not why we are here. Of course not.
And why are you here?
Can I step out, having prepared myself from where I am hidden?
Yeah, of course.
I sort of approach. I say nothing until I'm in line with Fabio and sort of everyone else. And is this how you normally greet the Inquisition?
I'm sorry, the Inquisition? You're from the Inquisition?
Yes. Agents of the Inquisition, this is how you normally greet us. You are compromising quite a sensitive time frame mission, and you dare to question us.
You have a
You who can't even detect the dead. Pardon?
You have a badge of office, I take it?
We are on an undercover mission. We can show you a data slate with the actions of the one that's put us into service, but we would then have to kill you, and that would be unfortunate.
Right. Well, look, our group here haven't particularly seen you do anything out of the ordinary, although of course being here in itself is out of the ordinary. We will escort you off the premises this once, but should we see you again, we won't hesitate to inform the sisters of your presence and have you removed rather violently, should you be here again. And one of the other guys nods to a group of workers that are forming now, obviously because you caused a ruckus. And these guys are called the Gilead Gravediggers. Guys, if you'd like to escort these gentlemen through the cathedral, they can then be on their way, and we can go about our procession and our duties. If you'd like to follow these guys, they will escort you off the premises. As I've said before, should we see you again, we will not hesitate to take action.
Do you happen to know Diomedes?
Look, I think you'll find that your presence here is unwanted and you should leave. The fact that I'm humouring you with conversation right now is, frankly, beyond my duties.
What my friend here is trying to establish is that whilst we have recently acquired a mission for the the Inquisition. We do still need to seek our first contact. Now, our first contact, Diomedes, can make it very much worth your while for putting us in contact with him. I appreciate this is most out of the ordinary, but this is a most out of the ordinary mission. One very important for the sake of people such as yourselves, to the Priory, and to the city.
And the Emperor himself.
We have ways of showing our gratitude far beyond simple conversation. And any help you could be at this stage would greatly expedite the mission ahead of us.
I'm done with this conversation. Guards, and he clicks his fingers, and the Gilead grave diggers sort of look at you semi-apologetically, and they're going to try and usher you away into the cathedral. If you'd like to follow them and comply.
How, in terms of their armaments and everything else, like what sort of
what are they equipped with and things?
What are they carrying? And yeah.
So the guys that you're talking to are called the 2 seconds. They're the corpse tenders. They kind of look a little bit like our friend Ikavon. They have quite heavy augmetics. They've got implements for things like removing augments and things like that. So they've got mechadendrites on them as well. These 4 look pretty capable, to be honest with you, and not capable of fighting necessarily, but they're armed to the teeth with equipment that would help them cut through bone and like laser off arms and things like that, and remove jewelry and remove augmetics. As for the Gilead grave diggers, there are 6 of them. They look to be like imperial citizens. So, I mean, they're not pistols, they're stub guns. So they've got like basic stub pistols in their hand, like in their holsters, because they obviously have to arm themselves against grave diggers. But for the most part, they are they're carrying like just tools, really. Like tools.
So when these guys stepped out, I imagined I stayed hidden behind there. Is there a way I can maybe like see if I can stealthily keep out as like I want to see whether it's possible that maybe they think that these were the only 2 here, and that I can maybe slip under the radar here?
Yeah, if you want to give it a go, you can roll a stealth check. Obviously, because you're stuck behind the bodies, the pile of corpses, we'll assume that you're not rolling for that, but the second you want to make an action, like move around to come from the other side or something, or move away or draw a weapon or whatever, then you have to roll a stealth check.
Okay.
So if you tell me what you want to do, and then...
No, in which case I just want to hold. I want to see whether these guys are going to comply and go with these dudes, or break up, or we'll see what's going to happen next. So I'm just going to lay in wait.
Yeah, what do you guys want to comply, like?
Yeah, I'm happy to comply. I think now we've got our gear and everything, that this is an easy pass getting to the Priory, gets us closer to the city, and on our way to the places we want to be.
Yep.
Cool. What would you like to do, Rob? You can now see your 2 allies just starting to move away from the pile of corpses, and the corpse tenders haven't moved because they are obviously doing their patrols, and they're going to check this new pile of bodies that you were mixed into. But the grave diggers, the Gilead grave diggers themselves, are the ones escorting the 2 off.
Yeah, I kind of want to move around to like the other side of this mound.
Yep.
Kind of trailing behind them, but not being seen. So I want to follow subtly.
Okay, so if you make me a stealth check, please. 3 with a failure. So, you tell me, how do you balls this up?
Oh, I don't know what kind of genre we are here, because I could do a few things. Like, I'm sure a lot of these corpses have a lot of gas built up inside them.
You go for it, mate. You tell me what happens. Go for it. Absolutely, I have no reservations here.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think as I move round, like this pile of bones and sinew, like I tip like a skull, and that forms like a bone avalanche that falls down one side. So I just completely reveal, like, make it completely obvious where I am as they move around.
As you do this, all of the Gilead gravediggers draw their holstered pistols, and they don't say anything. But one of the corpse tenders goes, "You there? Are you with these two?"
Yeah. Yes. No, actually, I'm here. I'm a new recruit to dig graves. See? And I point to my augmentations behind.
So either you're with them and you're lying, or you're not with them and you're lying. Which one is it?
Yeah, alright, I'm with him. Alright, let's go, let's do this. I just march up next to him and just kind of shrug my shoulders.
Great God, Emperor above, take them away. And I guess, you're now being led out of this courtyard and through the priory and into the main cathedral by the Gilead gravediggers. So, constructed as a constant reminder of the Cemetery Moon's purpose, Baristia Cathedral is an ominously grand exemplar of imperial architecture. Jesus, this guy likes to write big words. Incorporating the bones of thousands of ecclesiarchy adepts onto its oppressive structure. The imposing cathedral is composed of one gargantuan room in which regular sermons are held, timed between the shift of the labourers working in the Priory of the Sacred Form. Surrounding the main room are multiple chaplets and sanctuaries for private worship and ecclesiastic rituals, and a cloister leading to the Priory of the Sacred Form around the landing pad where you guys arrived. They lead you through this cathedral, as I've just described to you, and the second you get out the other side of the cathedral, they just stand in the doorway and they just scour. And one of them goes, "God, fuck off."
May the Inquisition bring you the best of luck this day.
Yeah, same to you too. Emperor bless and all that. And they all turn and wander back in. So now you're essentially in the outskirts of Baristia, which is the town that was described to you in the data slate. So Baristia is a small and dour city with only few points of interest. The cathedral that you're currently at stands at the north side of the main square, directly opposite the Librarium Mortem, which is easily identifiable by its domineering columns and large hanging flags depicting the symbol of the Adeptus Administratum. The Servo Skull Manufactorum is on the east side of the square. To the west is the main road to the Memento Square. The squalid downtown district of Baristia is composed mostly of hab blocks and it's like a shanty town basically. There are like hab blocks, there are what they called containers that have been turned into shops and houses. There are like lean-tos. There's like the typical corrugated roofed shanties that are built. There's tents. This place, for all intents and purposes, this place looks to be almost squalor if there weren't these massive imposing buildings scattered throughout that just stand as like parts of the Administratum and worshipping the Emperor of Man and the Imperium.
Is there like an age difference? Like, do the buildings look like they were here before, and over time these kind of like crates and stuff has been built up to like overlap or sort of
What you can imagine about the history of this place, based on what you can see, is that when the moon was new, they'd built this with the purpose of burying the dead, but they didn't realise just how many dead they were going to have to bury. So as time's gone on, more people have been moved here to help with the tending of the corpses and the creation of corpse starch and everything like that, and removing augmentations. And they haven't given them anywhere to live necessarily. So they've just moved people here for working, and they just haven't considered any kind of former housing or anything, because these guys are the lowest of the lows. They're grave diggers, they're corpse tenders, they're just not high in society enough to warrant the effort to create actual buildings. So they've kind of had to make do themselves, and they've built a culture around it, and they've built superstition around it as well. And they've built an industry and like almost like an economy within themselves, because that's the only way that they can survive and make a business and find value.
Oh man, I'm like, do they get kind of forgotten over here? I imagine, like,
absolutely.
I'm just wondering, like, how much cannibalism goes on.
Interesting question.
Okay.
I mean, there could very well be cases of cannibalism on this planet. Absolutely, there could be. It's not unheard of. It's not unheard of, but also it is unheard of, because anything that would happen that would be based around cannibalism would be quickly squashed by the Ordo Hereticus. They would just shut it down instantly, or they would at least shut down the whispers if they couldn't find the sources. So you could imagine there would be cults based around cannibalism. There's a cult called the Corpse Grinder cults, which is based on a planet called Necromunda, and essentially they're the people that work in the corpse starch factories, and they basically go mad because they are surrounded by meat every day, and they end up falling victim to what's rumoured to be the chaos god Khorne, who deals with blood and bones and skulls. So it's like an offshoot. So they become crazed cannibals, and they don't actually realise what they're doing is praying to this god. They just think that they're doing the right thing and they're living and surviving. But you could absolutely imagine that something like this would happen on this planet, and you could probably imagine there'd be a lot of pestilence around as well, and agents of Nurgle would be lurking in the shadows as well, because he loves decay, he loves pestilence. Doesn't necessarily love death, but he loves the idea of things rotting and bringing that into life itself. So you could truly imagine this to be like a pit of absolute just disgust. But for the most part, there is a sisters order on this planet that does a very good job of trying to shut those things down, and the manufacturers and the factories here, they try to definitely keep this in order and keep processing things for the Imperium. You can see in the distance there are things like factories with smoke bellowing into the skies with ash, where they're cremating bone after bone after bone, trying to keep the planet as pure as possible. And there are also factories that you can see that are just like lines of corpses are just being dragged in with servitors, and they're just being stripped of meat, and it's all just getting processed and bleached into corpse starch, or equally the flesh is being repurposed onto other servitors to make them look nicer. This is
such a grim planet.
It really is.
Corpse starch, like, what a concept.
It's crazy, isn't it? There's also, as I briefly mentioned, there's a servo skull manufacturer, and what that does is it takes the skulls of the scholars and the important people, and it uses their brains basically like mini computers and processors to produce servitors, which are like Nigel was. He's basically a floating skull of a long dead scholar, and they've just restarted him, and they're using his intellect as a form of CPU. So there's also one of those as well that's just churning out these little skulls, and they've been using them for all kinds of purposes, because they've got like little hollow refractors on them that keep them afloat, grav refractors. They'll use them for things like recreating data slates or storing records or personal assistants. Some of them will have guns attached to them as well and given to inquisitors. Some of them have cleverly been wired up to each other so that they can do several different functions. And so there's also an industry that chops the head off of people, turns the body into corpse starch, and uses the head as little floating calculators. So this place is horrendous.
Yeah. Oh, sick. Well, now you know. Like the horrific way. Yeah. Well, it puts it all in context of like where we are. Like, you don't just die here, especially as like someone like Ikavon is pretty intelligent and stuff. Like his intellect and stuff isn't bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I really don't want to die here because you don't die. They repurpose you and you're like stuck there forever.
Yeah. Just as an example, if you were to die here, they would definitely repurpose your skull into a servo skull, and you'd be floating around as a little computer. Fabio would probably just be stripped of his skin and turned into corpse starch, his bones burnt into ash. And as for Amonel, well, he wouldn't have the chance to die here naturally. They would find out like that he's a psyker, and they would burn him at the stake. Like, it's simple as. This place is like full of superstition. They're common folk, so they try not to take any shit or chances with anything because this place is bad enough as it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's what
the sisters don't take particularly kindly to psychers.
No, the sisters abhor psychers. They absolutely hate them. Actually, Fabio, can you make me, now that you're out in the streets of this makeshift shanty town, Fabio, can you make me make me a scholar test, please?
Yeah. So scholar, yeah, 6. So maybe now I've woken up a bit. Let's see if that tranquilizer's worn off.
Oh, I definitely have.
There we are.
Yep. Okie doke. So you're familiar with the sisters that you see walking around. You're familiar with the Order, and they're the Order of the Sanctified Shield. And this Order actually hails from Enoch, and that's how you know this. 2 of the sisters were of the Sanctified Shield in Enoch as well. They were the 2 that were working on the ward. They're basically here to uphold the will of the Emperor and honour the dead. They, for all intents and purposes, they are the police force on this planet. Normally there is a form of police force in 40k universe. They're called enforcers. This task is way above them. They're just to enforce the common people and the riffraff. The sisters here are basically making sure that everything that's meant to be coveted is coveted, and they just will not have any shit. The second they see something, scuffles on the streets or anything like that, if you look like you're below the rank of the administratum, they will just shoot you on sight. They will just not take any shit.
Okay. We must watch out for these sisters. They are the law keepers of the planet, and they tolerate nothing. Absolutely nothing. So we must be on our best behaviour until we find this Diomedes.
Okay, so you're here in the square. You've got the librarian that's basically directly opposite you. In the distance, you've also got the Servo Skull Manufactorum, and you've also got Memento Square that's to the west as well. So let me know where you'd like to travel to, and we'll continue from there.
Well, perhaps this librarian can point us towards the people we need to find, this specific person. So maybe that's the best place to go?
Yes, we might find Diomedes in here, but otherwise it might just be a useful place to do our research. So seems like it also might be a fairly safe space too. So yeah, let's head inside.
Cool. Just to make you aware, the data slate has actually died because it said it had 10 minutes in it, and it's probably been roughly about that now since you've found the corpse and you've had a chat with those guys and they've walked you through the cathedral. So the data slate, for all intents and purposes, is now died. If you do wish to retrieve the data from that, you'd have to ask the technical wizardry of Ikavon to see if he can reboot it somehow. but that's up to you guys. If you've jotted down or you've remembered what was said on the data slate, then that's great. If not, just let me know. I can have Ikavon restart the data slate, and then you can read it from the handout that you guys have got. But don't cheat. Don't read the handout if you need to remember. Make Ikavon roll for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd like to make your way to the librarian.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's skip to that bit then. Story time. Doric columns inlaid with grim skull-faced statues mark the front of the Librarium Mortem. Easily 200 metres tall, it is almost as large as the cathedral and is constantly expanded to accommodate the ever-growing tally of the dead. The Battle Sisters that we talked about, they patrol the steps and the entrance regularly. There's actually quite a queue outside. It doesn't seem to be moving very quickly. There's a vast range of people here. There's some sisters that have their helmets off and are just carrying pistols of various descriptions that are lined up as well. There's a few of the, like, what you'd call the common riffraff that are just milling about, waiting to go in. And there's also a few of the administratum waiting as well. It's up to you if you guys want to queue or not, but the queue does look relatively long and doesn't seem to be moving very quickly. So I'd let you talk amongst yourselves depending on what you'd like to do in that scenario.
Have we got any money or credits on us?
You've got all your equipment back. They were stored in the pull string bags that you now have wrapped around you.
So if we needed to get in, we could either try another door and sneak in, or we could try to bribe our way in through the front, unless we think we could be persuasive.
Not very persuasive as such, but I can work my way around a locked door. Well, technologically locked door.
Yes. I have a way that I can help us remain a bit more hidden, if we so wish to do that.
Is it a big building as we approach it?
Yeah, it's huge. It's kind of, how do I describe it?
Cathedral.
It's almost like the cathedral, yeah. It's had a lot of work, so you can see that there was once a main, quite square building with these huge imperial columns, almost like something you'd see in Trafalgar Square. But since then, it's had extension rooms put on with these grand Victorian-style windows that have huge checkered window panes put in them. With the imperial aquila going up them as well, and it's all like inlaid with like pieces of gold and marble, different like black marble and white marble, and it looks very hodgepodge. Where they've gone, we need a new section of the library. They've literally just employed workers of the Imperium to just build another section and then build another section. So although the main structure looks grand and rather regimental, each side has these rooms that have just been built on, and also on top of each other as well. It's not just long; it's very tall as well. So if you were to do like a full circle of this, it would take you quite a while.
And is there anywhere that looks like there's still works going on? You know, anywhere with scaffolding on it, or some building works somewhere?
Yeah, good idea. Make me an awareness test, please, or an investigation test, whichever you'd prefer.
Okay, awareness or investigation. So let's go for. Okay, let's go for an investigation one. So let's see what we get.
Nice.
Nice. That's really nice. You've got a critical success as well. Because of that, as you look to your left, you see it looks to be like, at first glance, it looks like a really large swarm of bees going in and out of one of the sections of roof. And then you realise, of course it's not bees, it's servo skulls. There is a section of the roof that has sort of like a triangle shape into one of the triangle-shaped roofs is missing, and that's where the servo skulls go in and out as they're doing their laborious work.
Right, so I'll point it out to the other two. What do you think? Getting through there?
I mean, it's quite high, but I mean, it's definitely good for them, so could be good for us.
Yes.
How are we going to get up there?
Simple matter of climbing, surely.
I look around. Is it quite busy, the thoroughfare and stuff? There's a queue outside. There's some ladies, some of these sisters around.
So I would say, apart from the queue, which does go on for quite a long time, there's about 20 to 30 people in this queue from all different breaths of life. But the part where the servo skulls are coming in is far beyond that. So you wouldn't have to necessarily worry about the people in the queue. However, you would have to worry about the sisters that are patrolling through. They're not necessarily patrolling with a means to catch someone, so they're not guarding, but they're definitely walking through and just keeping an eye on stragglers and riffraff that happen to be walking the streets. I would say if you were to do a 360 of where you currently are, there's about 10 to 15 people all doing various things, like walking past you at any one point. So it's not really busy like a city square, but it's more like a town. It's more like a small town. So imagine, like, I don't know, like Folkestone High Street, you'd probably, like, during the day, you'd probably see like 10 to 15 people pass you every 500 meters or so.
Sure, yeah. All right. All right. Seems possible, for sure. You said you could make us hidden, Amonel?
I can improve your ability to hide, yes. I can't make you invisible. That would be insane. But yes, I can improve your ability to hide.
What's the situation to get up there? By the way, so you said it was in the roof. How many stories was it? Or
so the description in the book says 200 meters. So
shit, that's big.
That would be the main section. If you were to, because it's such a hodgepodge, there would be sections that were lower, just a single story. There would be sections that would be higher than that, like there would be like a third story. There would definitely be areas where there would be scaffolding because they're still obviously expanding this library. So there's every possibility that you could find some scaffolding at some point and at least get up onto something to try and then make your way to the servo skull entrance if you wish to. Or you could just queue, be normal Imperium citizens and goodies for a day. We could spend the next hour just sat in the queue.
We're queuing.
I think we should make him roleplay every NPC that we can then talk to.
Yeah. I'm Imperium, not British.
Why did they write this into the story?
Well, queuing it is. It's a gimme that we.
How is there? Because I was thinking, like, I could, like, if there was like an automated sign, I could like subvert it and switch it off.
Closed.
Yeah, pretty much, and have the queue all fuck off.
If there is, it would be slightly inside the doorway, and this is a grand doorway. It's like, imagine like the front of a museum. It's a huge doorway. There's just a queue on one side. Like, people are walking out the other side happily, but for whatever reason, people have decided to be really polite and queue on like the left side of the door and wrapping round the building from there. So,
and this is the only entrance. There doesn't seem to be any like side, like maintenance, anything, or any like side entrances, smaller compartments into this building.
Check if you want. Yeah.
I'll take
unless Fabio, your awareness and investigation check for finding the like an area to climb onto, like with scaffolding, was part of that as well. Was rolling for doors, or
I would say it wasn't just an entrance. I'm not saying that Fabio's check gave a distinct path from floor to entrance, but it was to at least find ongoing works, and some way of ingress. So yeah, there might be some tarpauling, or for want of a better word, that's got some sort of cover over some unfinished part of the building. That's not to say he's found an obvious path from one thing to the other.
Sure. Okay.
But he's got that as a right. There might be there's some works going on at ground level, and then there's what looks like a very obvious in and out going on a bit further up. So, it's part of it that there's a possibility to go from one to another, but without any idea because it's high up.
Okay, if you'd all like to, you can all spend 5 minutes to walk around this building, and I mean it's theory of the mind, so 5 minutes isn't going to cause a fight or anything like that, or end up with death. I imagine.
You don't know
that. Haha, or am I tricking you? But you could spend the next
so hard
just walking around the building to see what you find if you'd like. As a group, or you could each go one way or something and meet at the back or something like that. It's up to you.
I think maybe this could be part of the lap. As we're looking around, we see these things, and then I'll keep an eye on the ground level to look for.
Sure.
Basically, I will keep an eye out for entrances, maybe maintenance teams. If there's work, there might be even labourers and stuff working on them.
Yep.
People around, that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, don't worry about rolling. I mean, if you're going to find a door, it's going to be obvious to you guys, isn't it? So, apart from the queue, there is the option to just walk past them as they're coming out. You could try and get in that way and just literally just walk into the librarium if you wish. But obviously, walking into an exit in the middle of arse fuck Imperium land is probably going to get you told off, as you're aware.
Yeah.
There's obviously
no more
the entrance.
scaling the building.
There's also the entrance for the survey skulls fly in and out at the top of the roof, and around the back you find two doors. One of them says administratum only, and the other one is a automated servitor door. So servitors are the guys on tracks that have been lobotomized to basically do someone's bidding.
Yeah.
So that's automated, and that's has a pad built into it, and obviously if a servitor has a chip attached to it, it will allow it to pass through fine. So there are 5 options I think. Walking past the queue, the administratum entrance, the servo skull entrance at the top, or the servitor entrance at the side.
Well, the servitor entrance is probably the best one I could probably make our way in. However, the servo skull one does seem like a
really cool way of getting in.
It seems like the most shenanigans way in, and I feel like
the most potential for trouble and the most potential for big gains. It's big gains, big trouble, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you realise we could walk into there and it's a complete labyrinth of small tunnels and all automations and crushing gears and all shit like that, but, Alright, so we got to get up there is the first issue. Now, I'm not sure whether a servitor, if we were to hijack one, could support a person and fly it up there. Like a buoyancy ball underwater kind of deal.
So you guys are going to opt for the
stupidest one.
Sneaky.
Sneaky. Okay.